Hey guys, it is Ebony. Today is Friday. The 16th was Tuesday, 17th was Wednesday, 18th was Thursday. It's Friday, January the 19th, and I'm sitting here with my son. We're actually sitting in the parking lot of the grocery store. If you can see the grocery store over here. My window is really dirty. I have to wash my car, but we're sitting here in the grocery store parking lot, and I'm just debating on whether or not I want to actually get out of the car and go in the store because the weather is bad. I don't know if you can see it, but it's kind of like drizzling. I mean, it's not the best weather. I really don't want to run in here, but I need to go get some things to cook for dinner tonight because the pantry and the refrigerator is like low. I need to go grocery shopping, but one of the things I hate most in this world, I'm not going to say hate, I'm going to say dislike. One of the things I dislike most in this world is grocery shopping. And so sometimes I wait till, the absolute last minute to go do that. He's falling out. To go do that. And now the grocery stores have where they will do the shopping for you. And they'll just bring it out to your car and you pay for it online. Meaning you go online, you pick out all the groceries that you want. They'll do the shopping for you. You pay for it online, and then you call them and they'll bring it out to your car. So I've been using that and I've been loving it because it saves me time. As like a busy mother, it saves me a lot of time. And like if I remember, I can order the groceries like Thursday, and then Friday after work I'll just pick them up. That's what I normally do, but I didn't do that this time. And they also have now a sign up that says we deliver, so I don't know what that's all about or how much of a cost that will be for them to actually bring the groceries to your house, but I'm gonna find out because I can definitely use that in my life. My son has been he's been very temperamental for months now. He cries very, very easily. He's very attached to me, and sometimes it makes it difficult to do anything or go anywhere because of how attached he is and how needy he is. And this morning I was trying to get ready for work. It was just me and him in the house. The other kids had gone to school, and he cried the whole time I was trying to get ready. I bring him in the bathroom with me. He cries. I sit him right next to me. He cries. He actually wants me to hold him. I was in the shower, taking a shower, and I had him right outside the shower door, and he was crying. So I actually brought him in the shower with me. It's big enough. It's a big enough shower, and I brought him in the shower with me, and he cried until I picked him up and I held him. So it's becoming very difficult because I've never had a child this clingy and who will cry so easily, and he's my first child to do that. My two daughters that I gave birth to, I have other daughters, but the two daughters that I gave birth to and I actually had when they were little like this, my daughters are extremely outgoing. They are independent, so they weren't clingy like that. My 6-year-old, she loves to be around me, but she's not clingy. She'll go off by herself if I tell her to. And my son, my other son, he was very quiet. He's still very quiet. He was a very quiet baby, so he didn't cry. He would just sit quietly. He was a quiet baby. But this one, he cries. He cries. Tell him, baby. Tell him what happened this morning. So he cries. So even like right now, I was sitting in the car just waiting to go in the store, and he was in the car seat behind me, and I guess he realized the car stopped, and he started crying, so I just brought him up here with me. So what I really wanted to get on here and talk about 4 minutes later is I wanted to tell you all that I recently got a telephone number from my mother, actually my older sister. Somehow she was doing like a missing persons search on her own, and she was contacting everybody she could via Facebook and other channels to try to find out where my mom is or where our mom is. And she actually got a number from my mother, and she called and talked to my mother very briefly, and then she shared the number with me and my other sister in case we wanted to call her. And so I've been thinking about it for the past few days, and I don't think I'm going to call her. I don't think I'm going to call her, and I think it's better that way, because I do not want to be disappointed. And at this point in my life, I cannot deal with the disappointment. I can't deal with it. So I'm not going to call her. And to give you guys a little bit of background, my mother, my sisters and I were forcibly removed from my mother. I don't know how to describe it without shedding like a negative light on my mother, because I want to respect her. But I'll just say my mother left our lives when I was 4 years old. My older sister was 7 and my younger sister was 2. My mother left our lives, and it was a choice. It was a choice for her, you know. And when I was previously describing it as we were forcibly removed, I think that wasn't a good word for it, but I felt like I was torn away from her. You know, that's the way I felt. I felt torn away from her by force, like I was torn away from her. But it was her choice, and she could have chose otherwise. But that was when I was 4, and I was a very intelligent child. So and my memories and my understanding of that time is very vivid. A lot of people will be like, well, how do you remember anything when you were 4? I remember everything when I was 4. I don't have very many memories from being 3, but I have a lot of very vivid memories from being 4. I can tell you a lot of things that happened, and I remember it very clearly, and that was the year that I left my mother. And ever since that age, we're going to go on the store, baby. He has a cough. So, yeah, I remember very vividly age 4, and I remember how painful it was to leave my mother. It was so painful. And I'll go into detail, you know, another time. I always say that about stuff, you guys. You're probably thinking she's not gonna come back on here and tell us anything, but it was so painful. And from the age of 4 all the way up to the age of 14, I never saw my mother. I saw her once when I was 14. I believe I was 14. I saw her once. You know, somehow it was arranged for us to go see her. And that was just one day. I got to see her and all of my 10 sisters, younger siblings, all my 10 younger sisters and brothers that day. That was the first time I ever met them. The first and the last time I ever saw them. And they were beautiful children. Beautiful children. I still remember to this day, like, I love those kids like they were my kids, but they were my siblings. You know, I just felt some type of connection to them. And so I never saw her from 4 until 14. I saw her one time when I was 14, and then I never heard from her again until I was in my early 20s, and she called me. She reached out to me, and at that time I wasn't in a good position spiritually or in my life to really receive her. I was angry. I didn't understand the concept of forgiveness, and at that time, you know, I didn't want anything to do with her, and I really felt like she didn't want anything to do with me either. But at that time, there was a need that prompted that phone call. So I talked to her once in my early 20s, and I haven't heard from her again. And now here I am 34, and I have her number, and I can't bring myself to call her. And I hope I'm not coming off as ugly or heartless or anything like that, but there is a lot of pain associated with my lack of a relationship with my mother and how everything happened. There's a lot of very evil and ugly things that took place during that time when I was 4, between her and my stepfather and her children, me and my sisters. A lot of ugly, evil things that took place that I don't want to really go into detail about, but there's a lot of background there's a lot of background to this story. And to make a long story short, I don't know my mother. I have memories of when I was 4, and those memories, sorry baby, those memories when I was 4 are very loving memories. I remember she was very loving, very patient. She would be singing around the house. I always felt love from her at that time. Are you okay? Are you okay, sweetie? You want to lay down? Lay down. Lay down, baby. Yeah, so those are very loving memories, but other than that, I do not know my mother. And my fear is if I were to call her and talk to her, that I would be completely disappointed in what I hear. Because as a mother, and I know how I feel about my children, there's no way I could go, I'm 34, so it's been 30 years. Wow, it's been 30 years. There's no way I could go 30 years and not have a relationship with my kids and not hurt every day and not feel something every day. Because when you carry these kids in your womb and you give birth to them and you love on them, there's a connection there. There's a connection there. And there's a bond there. And they are a part of you. They're a piece of you, literally a piece of you. And to just go through life as if they don't exist, I cannot understand that. My mind can't wrap around that. I can't fathom it. So my fear is if I were to talk to her, I would be completely disappointed at who she is. And so I would be completely disappointed, and that's my fear, because I would rather just not know rather than to know and be disappointed in what were to come of the phone call. And my younger sister feels the same way. You ready to go? Let's go. Okay, so he's starting hit the. Let's go, baby. You want to go? You want to go bye-bye? Let's go bye-bye. Let's go to the store. You going to help mommy shop? Come on. Okay, so he's starting what he normally does, the whining and the crying. So I'm going to get out of the car. But I'll finish this video because I want to share with you guys because it's therapeutic for me. But I'll finish this video, so I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.